I'm going to share a really fun story and it involves you. Do you know that you are actually part of my manifestation? Yeah, you listening to me. And I'm going to tell you how. Especially those of you who come from Nevillution after you heard Lila read a portion of my book. About 6 years ago, I was on YouTube just scrolling around and I came across this channel and the voice of the person just really just arrested me. And I went to her channel and I listened to a few of her videos and I said to myself, my goodness, she has such a beautiful voice. She could read me the white pages or the yellow pages and I would listen. And I thought, one day I would love this woman to be able to read my words in a book that I publish. Having had that thought, I decided that I was going to go ahead and let her know. So I sent her, I think it was a message or maybe under the comment section, and I said, I really love your voice and I hope that one day you'll be able to read a portion of my book on your YouTube channel. Back then, she had just started. She replied to my comment and she asked, have you written the book yet? I said, no, it's not even published yet, but in the future, one day, I want you to read my words. And that was it. That's all I did. And I just carried on with life. Over the years, many other things happened in my life, more stories that I'm going to tell you about. But I didn't think about it. I just knew that I just mentioned it to her, and life continues. I wrote the book in 2015. This was many years after I had given her my thought or expressed my wish. And even though I wrote the book in 2015, I didn't even publish it then. At that time there was a lot going on in my life, and I didn't have the focus to be able to publish it at that time. So I just continued trying to figure out how to get myself to the next better level in my life. At the end of 2021, in December, I published Living in the Flow, Demystifying, Manifesting, and Co-Creating a Life of Ease. When I first asked her to read my book on her channel, the one that I had in my mind was Unbecoming You. Okay? But when I published Living in the Flow, I thought this actually goes more in line with what she does. So I'm going to go ahead and ask her if she would be able to do it for me. I sent her a message and I said, hey, can you please help me do a shout out on your channel for my book? I'm an indie author and it's really challenging to market and publicize your book. So it would mean so much to me if you could do that. She replied and she said yes. So I sent her a copy of the book. And a couple days later, I get this incredibly wonderful email from her. She is ranting about how much she loves the book. And my heart was just overjoyed because I thought, oh, wow, I'm happy. She gets to do this. So she said, yes, she'd do it. She would read a chapter from my book and maybe I could do one in my voice. And I was on board with whatever she wanted at this point, okay? I think it was a few days later, or maybe the next week, I wake up in the morning to a link to her YouTube channel and I am watching and listening to her read this portion or this excerpt from my book and I am crying my eyes out. My husband is looking at me like, what is going on? Is somebody hurt? And I said no. So I put the volume up and we both listened, and it would just it hit me at that point, like, wow, 6 years ago I had a thought. I shared this thought with this person. Yeah, a few years later, I followed it with inspired action and I wrote a book. And now this thought has become real. It's in my reality now. The moral of this story is that we are always creating the future in the present. Always. What are you thinking right now? What is going on in your mind? What are your wishes? What are your desires? What are you obsessing about? What are you wishing you had? What are you saying out loud? What are you speaking into your future? Because one day in the future, it will be right there in front of you, just like how you had pictured or wished. You are listening to me tell this story. So I manifested you, and perhaps even you too. manifested this moment. So we are always co-creating, whether consciously or unconsciously. But it's even better when we do it consciously, when we're aware of what we are saying and doing, or the thoughts that we are putting out into the universe. So yeah, that's my story about how you create the future in the present. Happy manifesting. Thank you so much for all your kind words, and thank you for your purchase of my book, for your lovely comments. I received them tenderly. Thank you. For more of such stories, buy my book. The link is in the bio. I want to thank Lila so much for letting me use her platform to be able to share. I have been in your place before, and there's certain things that I still am learning. So feel free to ask me questions. I believe that we're always learning and unlearning, and there's certain things that you can share with me that might help me to grow as a human being. So my YouTube channel is on now as well. Thank goodness. I have been procrastinating for such a long time, but I hope that I'm able to share stories and share my wisdom with you, and that it resonates and that it helps you in your life in some way. And if it doesn't, maybe somebody else, and you can just share it with the person.